Very good. So let's begin our session, and today will be the session completing the 13th chapter. Okay, so let's begin with our praise to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai Shri Shri Nidai Gauranga ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai Nidai Gaur Premanande. So 13th chapter is a very interesting one, wherein Krishna is explaining many wonderful philosophical concepts as part of the Jnana Yoga section. Arjuna's 6 questions on Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Prakriti, Purusha, Jnana, Jnaya were answered by Krishna systematically. And after that, Krishna explains that we have to understand this philosophy concerning Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Prakriti, Purusha, and how the Prakriti with her 3 modes is interacting in a wonderful manner. So this is going to be the path of liberation for us, or it is going to, as Krishna says in verse number 24, Nasa bhuyo abhijayate. Right? Again, you will not take birth here. And this is going to liberate us. So there are different ways and means how different people are trying to, people from different yoga disciplines are trying to realize super soul mainly. And once you realize super soul, I was telling you last session, that you realize everything. It's like you see the sun, you see everything. You see yourself and you see everything around the sun. So like that, the realization of super soul is stressed. Different process, different disciplines of dhyana yoga or jnana yoga, karma yoga, different paths people follow, and it has its own ways and means to slowly, gradually come to the path of perfection. Whereas the practical method, even Bhagavad Gita is recommending, as you see in verse number 26, very wonderful verse, Krishna is telling, in this Kali Yuga, if you can simply hear from authorities, right? You may not be conversant with any understanding of spiritual knowledge, but simply if you hear from authorities submissively, patiently, then what happens? Then you also develop the right attitude to worship Krishna, right? And because of your tendency to hear from authorities, you also transcend the path of birth and death. Mrityum Shruti Parayana. This is exactly what Prabhupada did. When he went to America, initial days, he used to go to the, in fact, throughout this whole, his pastime of establishing various Hare Krishna movement centers, ISKCON centers, he did this. He was giving opportunity for people to hear from him. This is the path, or this is the way for Kali Yuga. Just hear from authorities. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed, when having talks with Ramananda Rai, one more great devotee, that this is the way. Sthane sita shrutigatam tanuvan manomi. You be wherever you are, but hear from authorities. Hear from the right source. Then your path of liberation is open. After this, Krishna has been telling about how, what is the practical application of knowledge you have understood so far. Knowledge should become, or rather the whatever various concepts you have understood, that should be practically applied in our world around us. So first thing in 27th verse, Krishna says is that anything you see in his existence, any moving or non-moving entities, is a combination of Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Field a field of activities and the knower of the field. Means matter and spirit together. It's a combination. It's like our body, our existence. We are material body with spirit, soul inside. Any entity for that matter. Animal, bird, tree. Tree has one type of a body. It's made up of matter. And a tree also has a spirit soul. That's how we should see. And further, Krishna says, not only Atma in a body, there is also Paramatma, which Krishna already has explained in the very beginning of this chapter. Kshetragnam Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. Right? As a Kshetra, super soul is also there in every body. And this super soul, Krishna says, just like soul is indestructible, similarly, super soul also is indestructible. The body may get destroyed. The body is subject to destruction. Right? This in second chapter, Krishna very elaborately explains again and again. Body is subject to destruction. The soul is, soul and the super soul, both are indestructible, never destroyed. Second aspect. Thirdly, Krishna says in verse 29, the practical application of this understanding of soul, super soul. Soul and super soul are in every living entity, everywhere. Paramatma is everywhere. This is a very wonderful understanding. Prabhupada says, if one understands that the Supreme is situated in his Paramatma manifestation everywhere, presence of Supreme Lord is in every living being, then we will not degrade ourselves. Means our consciousness will not, will not be thinking otherwise, not thinking in a wrong way. Right? We will see Paramatma everywhere. That's what existence is. Paramatma in its various features is existing and maintaining and moving everything. Right? So, seeing Paramatma everywhere is, if you can remember, there's a nice verse in 6th chapter. I wanted to tell this last time, but I missed out. Verse number 30 in 6th chapter. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. Very nice verse. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. Is exactly what Krishna is telling is here in verse 29. What does he say? I am never lost, nor is ever lost to me. Okay. So, this is very wonderful. Already see Krishna has mentioned many such wonderful principles and pieces of wisdom for us to understand. So, we have to just again and again read Bhagavad Gita and assimilate all this understanding. Right? So, like this next verse, you see 30th verse in 6th chapter, Krishna says, the yogi who knows that I and the super soul within all creatures are one, worships me and remains always in me in all circumstances. Krishna is standing as a personality, Supreme Lord, in front of Arjuna, saying, Lord Krishna and I are one and the same. Right? In that way, super soul also is same as Krishna only. So this is how Krishna already has revealed many truths earlier. Now it is being sort of a confirmation. So basically, Krishna is trying to tell us here that don't see things separate from Krishna. Everything is Krishna. Right? So, first thing is, any living entity you see is a combination of matter and spirit. Next step is, along with spirit, there is super soul also. Both soul and super soul are indestructible. They can never be destroyed. Thirdly, super soul is in every living entity in his own glory. Right? You should see super soul in everything and everything, as Krishna says, and also everything in Krishna. Right? One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. It's a nice, statement. One who sees me everywhere and everything in me. So this is how we should see. So then you'll not degrade your consciousness. Otherwise, mind is always, it sees only from its own perspective. As Prabhupada says, self-centered way it sees. We should see Krishna everywhere. Like Hiranyakashipu was seeing he is the master, he is the Lord, he is the control of everything. He was not seeing Paramatma, he is not seeing Lord. Whereas Prahlad is seeing everywhere Krishna only. When Hiranyakashipu was so angry with his son, he told, "Where is your God?" Prahlad said, "Everywhere. He sees me everywhere and everything in me." That is the vision of a devotee. Whereas non-devotee, he is degraded his consciousness, he is not seeing Krishna everywhere. He thinks Krishna is localized somewhere. That's the point. Right? Self-centered. Self-centered means no Krishna, only I am there. So when you see Krishna everywhere, then mind turns to super soul, it becomes advanced in spiritual understanding. Prabhupada says. Now, next verse, verse 30. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. Now, Krishna starts speaking about, okay, you have a body, every living entity has a body. So what are these activities actually? When the body is performing activities, who is performing the activities? Is the point. Already this is answered in the previous few verses before, like in verse number 22, 23 and all is answered. But again, Krishna is trying to give a very concrete understanding now with regard to how soul is transcendental. Now, next few verses, Krishna is going to explain about the position of the soul. Right? So far, Krishna has told about super soul's position. Now, Krishna is going to talk about soul. How soul is in different bodies, and in every body it is doing, the body is active. Like I'm lifting my hand, I'm talking, you're also listening. What is all this happening? Krishna says, actually, the soul does nothing. What is happening is because of the body. Body is like, it's like, telling that when you sit in the car, the way the car takes you, whatever comfort you are experiencing in the car is all the makeup of the car. How the car is made up of, which model it is. If the car is, very old and not very comfortable, you'll feel very bumpy. Every little, undulation on the road, and you can feel the cars. Proper shock absorbers. You can feel the cars, every moment in your body. It's like that. So what body you get, accordingly you will experience sukha dukkha. This is what Krishna explained in 21st verse in this chapter. Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktrutve hetu ruchate. In this verse, Krishna Prabhupada has explained. Type of body you get is, you'll be experiencing different types of sufferings and enjoyment. Okay, so let's get into some more details. So basically, what is the type of vision you are supposed to have? The transcendental vision, Prabhupada says. Right now, our vision is material vision, material conception of life. We're supposed to develop transcendental vision or spiritual vision. Pashyati, Pashyati, Prabhupada Krishna has been telling. You see, observe, verse after verse, Krishna has been telling Pashyati, Pashyati. Right? Tad vidhi, vidhi means you should know. Next verse 28 is telling Pashyati, Pashyati. 29 again is telling, you should see. Pashyam, Pashyam. See. In this verse also, 30th verse, Pashyati. Pashyati means you have to see in this way. You should not simply say, oh, body is working. No, body is not working. Body cannot work on its own. It is conducted by material nature. This Krishna explained in the 5th chapter also. When a living entity desires to act, inconceivably, super soul gives directions to material nature to animates. Super soul animates the material body in a way that it functions the way you are desiring, provided we deserve that action. If you are paralyzed and you desire also to lift your hand, you cannot lift because Krishna doesn't sanction. That's the point. So Prabhupada very nicely says, this body is made up by material nature under the direction of the super soul, And whatever activities are going on in respect to one's body are not his doing. Very important. It's a very fine philosophical point here. Example of car, you can always have a parallel example here. Car is made in the factory under direction of a manager, supervisor, whatever it is. In a specific way with a specific design. Whatever way the car functions is nothing to do with you sitting in the car, right? Car has its own type of a functioning. The speed control and the way it is going to, what way it's going to take you, in how it is going to take a turn. All that, you can only desire, or in that one sense, driver can only move his steering and do some things. Beyond certain things, car has its own way. The flight which crashed, it has its own way of functioning. It can only be operated through some buttons, but buttons malfunction, you cannot do anything. That's what it means. So Prabhupada says, whatever one is supposed to do either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do because of the bodily constitution. Prabhupada gives the example of a dog, if you remember, in verse 21 of this chapter. Once the living entity has entered the body of a dog, he has to think like a dog, he has to act like a dog, he has to bark like a dog. Condition, right? Whatever, this body only issue you can do. No, you want to fly, you cannot fly because you don't have wings. Your body is not designed for that purpose. Right? So whatever one is supposed to do either for happiness or distress, one is forced to do because of his bodily constitution. Whereas the Atma has nothing to do with these activities. Simply it is observing. Right? Observing and desiring. And desiring, once Krishna sanctions, things are working, things are happening. If you think, this verse is similar to the verse in 3rd chapter, 3.27. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani charvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham saiti mannita. Krishna says a similar thing there. The living entity thinks he is acting, but actually material nature is working, Krishna says. Out of false ego, ahankara, living entity thinks he is acting. So, Prabhupada very nicely says, the body is given according to our past desires. To fulfill the desires, what we had in our previous lives. One body is given, and accordingly the body is having a particular way of, is profiled to act in a particular, it's a program to work in a particular way. Like a machine, the car, a low-end car, a high-end car. So many different varieties of cars are there, no? Prabhupada says, in my lecture, Chevrolet, Ambassador, Mercedes. Like Prabhupada gives a list of some cars. Every car has its own way of, comfort and speeds, other things. Right? So based on the desire you have, Krishna is sanctioning a body for you. And that body will function based on the way it is given to you by material nature, accordingly, by which he acts accordingly. Practically speaking, the body is a machine. Yantra rudhani mayaya, designed by Supreme Lord to fulfill desires. Whatever desires you are carrying from your previous life, that is all, facilitated to be experienced in a specific body by the super soul for you. So, because we have been desiring like this to enjoy this material world, different types of body we are getting. It's like one living entity in this human form of body wants to eat fresh blood and drink fresh blood and eat fresh meat. This body is not suitable. So next life we'll get a body of a tiger. So whatever the living entity is desiring, one is put into different bodies accordingly, life after life, to suffer or enjoy. So Prabhupada says, this transcendental vision, when developed, makes one separate from bodily activities. So we are not the body. Again, this is the point which Krishna is trying to tell us. We are not the body, we are spirit, soul. This is the way we are supposed to see. Pashyati. Transcendental vision. Not simply grossly seeing. Krishna says about this in the 15th chapter very nicely. Not simply seeing, but just like Prabhupada gives that famous example. When in your car you're traveling and it is, somehow it stops working, functioning. Then you open the bonnet and see, you cannot figure out so many wires, so many machines. Whereas an expert mechanic will come and see immediately within no time, he will, he knows what is wrong, what is the mistake. He connects it, which means his vision is different than our vision. So Krishna is expecting, as a human being, we are supposed to have this transcendental vision. Even though you see bodies, you should see beyond the body. A spirit soul who is actually, who has nothing to do. Akartaram. Ya pashyati tathatmanam akartaram. What is acting? Who is working? The Prakriti is being activated by the super soul. Super soul's presence in the body is making the body act. That's the point. Okay. Next, verse number 31. Yada bhuta prathak bhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. Brahma sampadyate. How to attain the absolute truth? Krishna is explaining. He says, when a sensible man ceases to see different identities which are due to different material bodies, he attains to the Brahman conception. Brahma sampadyate. Brahman attains the Brahman conception. Thus he sees that beings are expanded everywhere. Right? In the just verse number 30, Krishna said, a living entity gets a body based on his desires. Krishna, he designs a body out of 84 lakh species based on the living entity's desire. And that body, once you are in that body, you are forced to act based on the bodily construction, bodily constitution. You cannot otherwise act. Right? A body, Prabhupada says, a hog in the body of a pig, a living entity in the body of a pig has to have one way of working. It is desiring to eat stool. Right? It can, even if you give halwa, it will not be happy to taste it. Like that, every body has one nature, one type of a constitution it is being made. Right? So like that, and not only one body, there are all the different bodies which we see around us. With one body, Krishna explained in verse 30. 31 is telling how to see different bodies. So, how to see different bodies? Various bodies, what you see around them, all have different desires of the different individual souls in each of them. So, all of them have desired like this. Right? Just like Krishna explained in 5th chapter. Samadarshana, spiritual vision. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Right? So the learned sage will not see bodily discrimination, different bodily identities. That's what Krishna is telling us here. Yata bhuta pratak bhavam. Different identities. Oh, he's a dog, he's an elephant, this is a Brahmana, this is a Chandala, it is a dog eater. No, he will not make discrimination with regard to bodies. He sees different living entities based on their different desires and different past activities. They've got different bodies. Prabhupada says here, in the material conception of life, we find someone a demigod, someone a human being, one living entity as a dog, a cat, etc. This is material vision, Jada Darshana. It is not a spiritual vision, not Brahma Sampadyate. As Samadarshana or spiritual vision. No, not actual vision. This material differentiation like this. He is rich, he is poor, he is intelligent, he is very dull-headed, he is beautiful. We have a beauty contest going on every now and then. He is very ugly, not so beautiful. He's a film star, he is 0 star. It's like this, different things. People have discriminations and identifications for self-glorification in their own ways. So this material differentiation, Prabhupada says, is due to material conception of life. Material conception of life means I am the body, Dehatma Buddhi. Right? Even now the plane crashed, news is coming every now and every day with different things. when the bodies were all, when the plane crashed, everybody was fully charred, right? Everything burnt. No body is recognizable. How are they recognizing the bodies now? From DNA test, right? So they're very, feeling very proud that we're able to at least identify the bodies. Earlier, plane crashes used to happen, and we're not able to identify whose body what. Right? Prabhupada also gives example when there was World War. So many, humans were killed, all stacked up in one place. Where is the discrimination? World War, or when Hindu-Muslim war happened, Hindu body, Muslim body, no discrimination, all are stacked up. But all of them had a soul in them. The soul has left. Right? So Prabhupada says the spirit soul, due to contact with material nature, gets different types of bodies based on the living entity's desires. So when we can see this, that's what Krishna is sharing. When a sensible man, Prabhupada says, when you see sensible person means he is seeing from the eyes of authorities. Anupashyati. See, again, pashyati word has come. But here, pashyati is not seeing with your own eyes, seeing from the authoritative version, seeing from through authorities. Oh, authorities are telling this. Different bodies are not simply, different bodies like what I see. It's all living entities with different desires. They have taken these bodies. Anupashyati means following the authoritative version and then seeing. A small child seeing the sun in the sky, it may think it's a ball of fire. No. When you see from the scientific background, scientific understanding, it is not simply a ball of fire, it's a huge mass of huge body, many, many thousands of times bigger than Earth. So many things, Then you see sun from that point of view, from that knowledge, background knowledge. Anupashyati means background authorized knowledge. Likewise, Hare Krishna mantra is not simply an ordinary sound. It is a spiritual vibration. How do you know this? From authorities I have heard. Right? I have heard and I'm seeing. I am actually understanding, the sound Hare Krishna is not ordinary sound. It is spiritual sound. Krishna is there in that sound. And I vibrate, I'm producing Krishna through this sound. These are all, authorized knowledge, pashyati, right? So, when you see this way, Prabhupada says, he attains spiritual vision. And we'll come out of this discrimination mentality of, man, animal, big, low, etc. Very beautiful, very nice word Prabhupada says. One becomes beautified in his consciousness. This is actually our consciousness. Beautiful consciousness of Krishna, which we have. Krishna consciousness, a beautiful consciousness. That consciousness has become ugly now, making discrimination, making, distinction, making, all different types of disease mentality has come. Whereas beautiful consciousness of Krishna means you're seeing everybody as spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. You are spirit soul, everybody are spirit souls. That is the beautiful consciousness. Right? So, so how this person will see things, Prabhupada says, how he then sees things will be explained in the next verse. Why he is seeing this way? As a spirit soul, what is the identity? Because body is constantly changing and it is becoming old. It is becoming very unpleasant to see after some time, right? When the bodies which are all met with an accident or something, you can't see them, right? When the news reports, they blur the images of some bodies which are very badly injured, right? Because it's very, very disturbing for us, right? So here the point which Krishna is trying to tell us here is that when you see things from the authoritative sources, when you see people around you or living entities around you, and not making any differentiation or distinction between different bodies, because they have different material, bodies, different dresses, just seeing them as spirit soul, this is called Brahma Sampadyate Tada. They're all living entities. They're all spirit souls. This is a spiritual vision. Material vision means discrimination. He is black, he is white, he is American. Other people, are all immigrants. They should all be thrown out from our country. Right? This is what is happening. Whole world, you see what is going on. Everybody is thinking only our country people should be there. Others are all they're all vegetables or something else. They're not humans. Just see, discrimination because no spiritual vision. Prabhupada says in some countries there's so much of land, hardly any humans are there, and they producing so much that agricultural produce they are not able to consume. They're throwing in the ocean. And there are countries where there is so much of shortage, scarcity because of overpopulation. And there they can give, no. It's all, after all, Krishna's. It's not your property. See how we become very crippled in our understanding with regard to the world around us and things around us. We are just become very self-centered. Me, my country, my people, it's all self-centeredness. The whole world is running in that fashion. You don't listen to me, I will, declare war on you. Right? This is what is going on in the world around us. You can see the current affairs of the geopolitical situation. Understand Gita verses from that point of view. You will appreciate it very nicely. Next, verse number 32. Now Krishna is going to see, he's going to explain the position of the soul, how soul is so transcendental. Next 3 verses are very wonderful. Krishna says, Anaditva nirgunatvat paramatmayam avyayah sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. Krishna has already mentioned this in verse number 13 of this chapter. While describing about soul, what did he say? Anadimat param brahma. About soul, Krishna says it is eternal. Right? Similarly, he is referring to the soul's eternal nature here. Anaditvan. It is nirgunatvat. It is without any contamination of the modes. It is transcendental. And it is paramatmayam avyayam. Param. It is param means it is beyond material nature. The soul is transcendental, eternal, beyond the modes of nature. This is called, Prabhupada is using very nice phrases here. Vision of eternity. Right? Vision of eternity. So what is the vision of eternity? The soul within us is eternal. It is transcendental. It's beyond the modes of nature. Right? Even though it is in contact with this material body, Krishna says, Sharirastopi kaunteya, it doesn't do anything nor is it entangled. Verse 30, Krishna said, soul has nothing to do. Same thing Krishna is repeating again here. Soul's position is, in the Vedic scripture it is mentioned, asangoyam purushaha. It has nothing to do with this material world, but somehow it has got, entangled here. How to come out of the entanglement is the whole process of Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness. Okay. So, the living entity is Aja. Right? Na jayate, na mriyate, va kadachin. There is no birth, no death. Right? Living entity appears to take birth. But actually it is, as Krishna says here, anaditvat, nirgunatvat. Paramatmayam avyayah. Avyaya. Avyaya means, Prabhupada says, it is inexhaustible. It is ever existing. Right? So, the living entity is eternal. He is not born. In spite of its being situated in the material body, he is transcendental. Our position is this. This is what you are supposed to see. That's why Krishna has been telling. What did he say in previous 31st verse? Our situation is this, but somehow we have got a body. We have got associated with these modes, karanam guna sangosya, and getting a body because of our different desires. Sooner you desire for service to Krishna, desire to become nice servant of Krishna, then this bodily entanglement will go away. So, basically, when you say inexhaustible, means it cannot be destroyed. The body is going to be destroyed. The soul cannot be subject to destruction, even though it has a body. So, when the plane crash has happened, the lamentation for the people that our near and dear ones are gone. Their body is gone. Soul has taken one more body. If they are completely, absorbed in Krishna's thoughts when that incident happened, whoever has absorbed their mind that way, they would have gone back to spiritual world. As Krishna says, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. Right? So, by nature, the living entity is Satchidananda, all blissful, full of knowledge and eternally existing. It has nothing to do with its material activities. That's what Krishna is trying to tell us here. The living entity, the soul neither does anything, na lipyate, na karoti, na lipyate. Krishna was here in 30th verse that it has nothing to do, rather it doesn't do anything. Now further things he says is, he is not entangled also in the material world, but somehow it thinks it is entangled. That's the problem. So the living entity, even though it is doing so many activities, it is not entangled, but the different aspects of this, of his, the perception and the various type of desiring aspects is entangling the living entity. That's the point. So the main message on this verse 32 is, Prabhupada says, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Na karoti na lipyate. When it is mentioned about na karoti na lipyate, with regard to material things, it has nothing to do. It's like water and oil. If you mix, can it mix? Never. It cannot mix. Both are incompatible. Right? Both are incompatible. It never mix. Likewise, spirit, soul and material matter will not mix. Right? You are assuming that you are acting, even though you are an observer, you are an experiencer. I give the example of a television or a movie theater. You enter into that whole plot of that movie scene going on the screen, and you identify with the characters and you become part of the movie. That's what is going on now. But your position is na karoti na lipyate. You are neither, you don't do anything, and you are not entangled also. It's very, Prabhupada says, all the subject matter which is discussed here requires contemplation and proper realization. They are not simply that grossly you can understand them. It requires cool mind to properly sink in. All these things have to sink in our understanding in a proper way. Okay. So whatever best possible I'm trying to communicate, but these are all things which we have to carefully go through, and Prabhupada has to bless us with the proper understanding. Okay, next, Krishna again says about the spirit soul's transcendental nature. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyat akasham nopalipyate sarvatra vastito dehe tathatma nopalipyate. Upalipyate means mixing. No upalipyate means does not mix. He's giving example here. In this verse and next verse, Krishna gives examples. The sky, Akasha, because of its subtle nature, does not mix with anything. Although it is all pervading. Sarvagatam. Akasha is everywhere. Ether is everywhere, right? Akasha is everywhere. It's all pervading, but it doesn't mix with anything. It maintains its identity. Likewise, the soul, when it is spiritually elevated, right? Brahman vision, Prabhupada says, when it is spiritually elevated, does not mix with the body. The assumption or the conception of mixing with the body is your thinking. I am thinking. It's like in a movie, you enter into that movie scene and you think I am that character or I am part of that movie. That is your problem. But as so soul per se has nothing to do with anything. Right? So soul is supposed to be having this Brahman vision, spiritual vision. It does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. Prabhupada says, how? He's giving an example of air. Air is entering water, mud, stool, everything. Still, air maintains its identity. Right? Wherever, whichever way, the air can enter anywhere. It's all pervading. Similarly, the living entity Even though it is in different bodies, not that one living entity is in the body of a pig, oh, it's very abominable. No, same spirit soul. It has nothing to do with his body. Why? That's what Krishna has been telling. What all different bodies you are taking is all because of you desiring that way, to enjoy in that way. So any body you see, you should see from this perspective, this point of view. The living entity has got a body because it has desired that way. The living entity has desired. So if it desires to be with Krishna, it can get a spiritual body. So the bodies around us should remind us again and again what a mistake we have done. Getting different bodies. I mean, some bodies which are much degraded than your body, you should always be feeling blessed. At least I am having a human body. There are bodies which can't even understand what is the purpose of life. That's how Krishna is like, in a hospital, there are so many patients, right? Different patients having different types of ailments and different types of treatments going on. If you are only admitted in OPD for a day, you should be very fortunate thinking, okay, only one day I'll be in the hospital. There are people who are in the hospital in some wards for months. Some are in ICU. What is their situation? Critical. At least I am fortunate. So human form of life is like in being in OPD. Other life forms are all in critical conditions. When what will happen, we don't know. Right? That is the point. So, living entity, even though situated in varieties of bodies, is aloof from them due to his subtle nature. The living entity is nothing to do with his body, but we are identifying with the body. So, Krishna says in the 30th verse of 2nd chapter, if you see, very interesting verse. It's almost similar to that verse meaning. This verse. He says, Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarve sarvani bhutani natvam sochitam arhasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any creature. Right? This is the conclusion of the constitution of the soul Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. Right? He has explained the immortality of the soul in various ways. Now Krishna is establishing that the soul is eternal, body is temporary. Right? So the soul is living, the soul is within the body is eternal. It is not going to be killed. Right? Likewise, how the soul is in the body, how it is, what happens after death, it is beyond our limited understanding to understand. Right? Prabhupada says, therefore, it is impossible to see with the material eyes how the living entity is in contact with the body, how he is out of it after the destruction of the body. No one in science can ascertain this. No great scientist, neurologist, or whatever branch of science can confirm this. How soul is in the body, what happens when it leaves the body, is beyond their limited understanding. So it's all very fine way of existence which Krishna has made arrangements. So here Krishna is giving that very fine understanding. It's like the sky is all pervading. Even though it is all pervading, it doesn't mix with anything. The air can enter anywhere, but even then it doesn't get contaminated. Likewise, the soul, it may take different bodies, an insect body, a bird body, aquatic body, whatever body it takes, it is actually transcendental. Its position is transcendental. Just like that body it has taken because of the desire it had with regard to enjoying the material world that way. So our material eyes cannot see how the living entity is getting a body. What happens when the living entity leaves the body? This is beyond our understanding. It is inconceivable, it is called. Even the modern science cannot ascertain this. So this is one example Krishna gives. Second example he gives in verse 34. Yatha prakashayatyekah krishnam lokam imam ravihi Kshetram Kshetri Tatha Krishnam Prakasheti Bharata. Now he gives the example of sun. Ravi. Sun, this illuminates. Uh, sun is situated in one place, but the whole universe is illuminated by this sun. Whole universe is brightened by this sun. Right? One sun, the whole universe becomes brightened. Yatha prakashat ekaha. Only one sun is there. Krishnam lokam imam ravi. It's like modern the astrophysicists, they say there are so many suns. No. As per Bhagavad Gita, there is only one sun in one universe. There may be some bright objects, bright stars or something like that, but sun, only one sun, the whole universe. So just like one sun illuminates this whole universe, so the living entity within this body, Kshetri, this illuminates the Kshetra body. Tatha Krishnam. One soul within the body will illuminate the whole body, which means the consciousness, what is spread all over the body, is because of this spirit soul. Similar verse we saw in the second chapter, verse number 18, if you remember, or 18, 17, sorry. Avinashiru tad viddhi yena sarva vidam tataha vinasham avyasyasya na kaschit kartum arhasi. Right? The spirit soul is avinashi. It is indestructible. And it is pervading the entire body as consciousness. So, the spirit soul in the body pervades the entire body, illuminates the entire body by consciousness. Even though the spirit soul in the heart of the body, sarvasya chaham hridaya sannivish, later on we see this. The soul is in the heart of the body, but it pervades the whole body. Right? So this consciousness is a symptom of the presence of the soul. Prabhupada says, thus consciousness is the proof of the presence of the soul, as sunshine or light is the proof of the presence of the sun. Right? Soul is there, body is conscious, awareness is there, every part of the body. As soon as the soul is out, you hit the body, you cut the body, no reaction. Right? So Prabhupada says this can be easily understood by an intelligent man. Therefore, this consciousness is not simply a product of any combination of matter. If consciousness is something which is, you can mix some chemicals and you can produce life or symptoms of life like consciousness, then anybody would have, all scientists would have rejuvenated any dead body. Right? So consciousness is because of the presence of the soul. So Prabhupada says, consciousness is not a production of any combination of matter. It is a symptom of the living entity. Our consciousness is limited to our body, individual consciousness, whereas super soul consciousness is all pervading. Our consciousness is limited to its individual body, particular body, whereas super soul is all pervading, is super consciousness. Right? That is the difference between individual consciousness and supreme consciousness. So like this, Krishna has given two examples. One example of the sky, which is all pervading, it maintains its identity, it doesn't mix with anything. Likewise, the spirit soul within the body, any body, it doesn't mix with that body or matter. It maintains its spiritual identity. And that only that feeling that I am part of, I am body, means it is our understanding, our conception it is. It's called Dehatma Buddhi, bodily conception of life. Similarly, that soul is so powerful that seated in the heart, it can, it is emanating consciousness, awareness all over the body. Like how the sun in the universe, situated in one place, it is giving heat and light everywhere. Right? Likewise, the soul's presence is giving the living entity symptoms of life, and especially consciousness. Consciousness spread all over the body because of soul's presence. The last verse of this chapter. Kshetra kshetragnayor evam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha ye vidur yanti te param. So now Krishna is concluding One who knowingly sees. Jnana Chakshusha, very nice word Krishna is using. Jnana Chakshusha means with the eyes of knowledge. That's what Prabhupada says. Knowingly sees means seeing with knowledge, not simply seeing blindly, or not simply seeing like any other entity without any proper understanding. Right? It's like a child will see a 2000 rupees note as a piece of paper, one more and one more object for playing. He will not know the value of it. Whereas a person who is grown up, he knows, oh, 2000 rupees note, I cannot simply keep here and there. It is valuable. It has it has value of 2000 rupees for purchase power it has. So he is seeing, knowingly sees a 2000 rupee note. That's called Jnana Chakshusha. Right? You can ignorantly see or you can knowingly see. Two things. So Krishna wants us to see knowingly, means with knowledge. Jnana Chakshusha, not Ajnana Chakshusha. Generally, it is all Ajnana Chakshusha for most of the people. Krishna wants us to develop Ajnana Chakshusha and make discrimination, distinction. This is body, this is soul, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, this is Bhuta, this is Prakriti. That's what Prabhupada is telling. One who knowingly sees the difference between body and the owner of the body, soul, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, soul, the body's soul, and super soul, and understand the difference and understand the process of liberation. How the living entity is entangled in this world, how it can get liberated. Moksham cha. So when you start seeing things in this way and start preparing yourself for the path of liberation, then Krishna says, Ye vidur yanti te param. You should know that this person is following the path of the ultimate goal. He's on the right path. He's going. It's like when you're traveling from one place to other place, say from Delhi to Vrindavan, you're traveling. On the way, you're seeing some milestones. Okay, Vrindavan, 130 kilometers. After some time, 120 kilometers. Oh, quite distance you have traveled, 30 kilometers. Then you're confirmed, I am on the right path. Krishna is doing the same thing. When you're seeing things with knowledge, see, even while driving to a particular destination, you have that knowledge. Oh, this path I have to go, this route I have to go. Because you're being, you're with that understanding, you're moving. Likewise, in life, we have to have this type of a proper understanding about what is body, what is soul, what is super soul. So Prabhupada says, this is the purport of this 13th chapter, that one should know the distinction between the body, the soul, and the super soul. How do you know all these things? How can you know? Yes, Krishna said, Anupashyati, in verse number 31. You should take the help of authorities. A faithful person should at first have some good association to hear or hear of God and thus gradually become enlightened. As Krishna has mentioned in the in that set of verses about process of knowledge, Acharyopasanam, right? You should accept a spiritual master and take his help to distinguish between what is Kshetra, body, matter, and what is Kshetrajna, spirit. Prabhupada says this becomes the stepping stone for further spiritual realization. The spiritual master teaches the students to get free from this material concept of life. Very important. Mostly our understanding is material concept of life. Means I am the body, others are bodies. We're all bodies and we're all happily living a life of bodily enjoyment. That is the material concept of life. Matter, 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 matter. We're only seeing matter. Whole Krishna's consciousness or the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to train us to come to this Brahma Sampadyate. Spiritual vision. Spiritual vision, Krishna is telling. See this way with the proper knowledge, proper spiritual understandings. Spiritual vision, transcendental vision, Krishna has been stressing on this point. You have to awaken to this level of understanding. You simply having Jada Darshana, no point. Right? You will be in the material concept of life. Material concept of life means repetition of birth and death. So various instructions in Bhagavad Gita is meant to remove your material concept of life. Very nicely, Krishna says in the 6th chapter, if you see the verses which tells about the realization, spiritual realization, right? This is the verse in 2023. 4 verses are there. Yatro paramate chittam niruddham yoga sevaya yatra chaivatmana atmanam pashyan atman. This is very gradually Krishna is explaining, right? How to reach the position of trance or samadhi. In that, if you see the purport, very first statement Prabhupada makes, by practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. Very significant statement Prabhupada makes. By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from material concepts. Right now, we are so conditioned in this material way of seeing things. Materially, we are seeing jada, all matter. And accordingly, we are having our own, just like in the movie theater, you are associating with or identifying with characters, and just in the movie world, you are lost. Like that, it's called material concept, bodily conception of life. So yoga means slowly you become detached from these material concepts. Prabhupada says is the primary characteristic of the yoga principle. Then step by step you come to the level of samadhi. That's what Krishna wants us. That is the purport of the 13th chapter. Right? So Krishna is instructing Arjuna to free him from these material considerations or material concepts. Prabhupada nicely explains. You can understand easily that we are not this body, we are not this body, we are spirit, soul. This body, what is body? It's matter. Krishna explained in this chapter in verses 6 and 7. This body is made up of 24 elements. It's a gross manifestation. And there is subtle body known as mind, intelligence, ego, psychological effects, right? All these are all having interactions because of the presence of soul and super soul in the body, right? Above this material body, there is soul. There is super soul also, right? And the material world means what is it? In verse number 27, Krishna explained is a combination of soul and matter, right? So like this, everything in proper constitution, Prabhupada says. One who can see the constitution of the whole manifestation as a combination of soul and material elements, and also the situation of super soul, becomes eligible to transfer to spiritual world. Means seeing things as they are. This is known as tattvataha. And Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha. Very important. Tattvataha means in the proper, one can see the constitution of the whole manifestation. Seeing things in its right position. Not mixing up things. Not making khichdi. Seeing things, differently. This is how it is. This is small. This is how it is. You see the world around you with a proper perspective. As Krishna says, knowingly see. Jnana chakshusha. Antaram jnana chakshusha. Seeing the situations, seeing the way it is designed, situated in this world for a purpose. What is the plan of Lord? What is the intention of the Lord? All these things you know properly. Then Krishna says, you become qualified to or eligible to transfer to spiritual world. So Prabhupada says, these things are meant for contemplation and realization. And this whole chapter should be understood with the help of a spiritual master. Otherwise, you cannot understand on your own. Of course, any subject of Bhagavad Gita requires guidance of a spiritual master, Prabhupada. So like this, last few verses, what you saw from verse 27, Krishna is telling how to develop the jnana chakshu, the eyes of knowledge. Right now, our eyes are covered with ignorance. We have to develop the eyes of knowledge. Right? How to see. And when you see that way, Krishna says that is the path of liberation for you. Or you will transfer to your spiritual world. Ye vidur yanti te param. Yanti means you go, you approach Supreme by this way. Just by training ourselves to see things in their reality, in their truth. What are we? It's not simply, we are nothing, we are only body. See, the whole perception or conception of what you are makes so much of difference. the way you think, the way you, when you think yourself as a body, a whole set of activities with regard to your thinking, feeling, acting, everything is different. When you think, when you start understanding your spirit soul, your whole thinking, feeling, willing will be different. It's a gulf of difference, right? It's like that. If I simply speculate, oh, my room next, behind me, maybe there is some big sound, something has fallen, maybe it's a bomb. If I start speculating like that and become very, very, afraid, then I'll be in that mood of anxiety and great fear. No, it is just that, one big object has just fallen. That's all. That's why this big sound has come. When you realize, oh, really, anxiety is gone. Prabhupada gives one more example. In the dark, there was no power for a few seconds. I am holding a rope and I'm mistaking it to be a snake. Oh, snake, it'll bite me. Light came. Oh, it is not a snake, it is a rope only. Oh. Just see, the shift of paradigm is important. That's what Krishna wants us to change his paradigm. Shift of our, understanding. We're in one type of a consciousness. Me, my body, my family, everything is on. You have to work hard, this, and life gone. No, I'm not the body. It is all bodies are all actually spirit souls. We have come for this purpose. There's a reason for this. Then, Krishna, what does Krishna say? Arjuna, you're a fool number one. You don't know what is the distinction between body and soul. Ashocha, nanvashochastvam, prajna vadamsha bhashase. Ashocha, gadasu, nagatasu, nanushocha. This is what Krishna has been telling. Distinction between spirit and matter. And now further, there is also super soul. And how this body is constituted, how it is working, how it is interacting, why it is interacting. All this is subject matter for contemplation and accordingly acting, not simply blindly acting. They're working with knowledge. That's what Krishna is saying. When you work with knowledge, proper knowledge, then you have a goal, you have a destination to reach. That's the point. Okay. So we have completed, by the mercy of Prabhupada, 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is considered to be one of the toughest chapters. Not easy to understand. Okay. So somehow, very mercifully, Prabhupada has blessed us to complete this chapter with whatever little understanding we have. It's also good enough. We'll again read again and again. Prabhupada will bless us. Fine. So I'll conclude here. Anybody anything to ask, discuss, you can take it up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
We find not only it's such an enlightening chapter, there is a lot of connection between second chapter and this because of the nature of the soul.
Yes, very much.
Yes.
So that's what. See, that's why you should go Bhagavad Gita systematically.
Yes.
Simply haphazardly read any chapter anytime. You'll not get the connection link. Because this is Krishna Arjuna Samvada. When you have a conversation has a flow. Your last chapter, you see, Sanjay is acknowledging this samvada of Krishna Arjuna. I remember again and again, I become very, very, I become so ecstatic. My hairs are standing on end because the way the whole subject matter has been built up, chapter after chapter, how slowly from the level of ignorance to enlightenment, how Krishna is bringing Arjuna's way of understanding. That's how we are all ignorant. And very step by step, Krishna is building first with basic concepts, then next. Now we're slowly moving to very advanced topics in Bhagavad Gita.
And the purports also so beautifully given by Prabhupada.
Every statement, every word Prabhupada has written is a lot of, Prabhupada has put it like, like Prabhupada says, like when you weigh gold, every milligram or every smallest particle of the gold is weighed. Right? Like that, Prabhupada has carefully weighed and put every word in a purpose.
Yes.
Even the translations, every word is important.
Yes.
Every word is, because otherwise, Sanskrit, what do we understand? We don't understand Sanskrit. Of course, it is having powerful, the effect of the sound when you vibrate, but even that revelation only Prabhupada only has to give.
Yes.
That's the point. So Prabhupada has so painstakingly translated every word of that Sanskrit verse for us. Yatha, as Prakashayati, illuminates. Oh, this is what it means. It makes sense for us. Oh, Yatha Prakashayati, Ekaha, one. Okay.
Otherwise, we would have never understood these.
That's why Gita is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. So valuable, book of understanding for us. Prabhupada is so wonderful. Like this, Prabhupada has given us treasure of knowledge, which even though whole life you go on reading, understanding, it is not enough. So much we have to, so much we have to, there's so much we should be careful in our life not to spend time here and there. That's the point. So much is there to know and understand, because one reading will not give you that, that grasp, because we are so dull-headed. Repeatedly read. Then it will give some sense.
Yes.
Like, stone, go on hitting. Not at one hit it will break. Many hits, at one hit, one hit, when it will happen, we don't know. Like that. Go on reading, one point, tube light will flash. Oh, this is what it was. Because Krishna is seeing what level of sincerity you have. Then Krishna
and
will...
the revelation comes.
Revelation happens. Divya Gyan Hridaya Prakashito. Then he reveals. You are not sincere, why should he reveal? You are not ready. And simply it is, you revelation for what? For no use, no purpose. For you, at least. That's the point. Right? You should be, it's like, you are hungry, then what you eat is, is going to really satisfy you. You're not hungry, you're until here full. Whatever you give, even if you give the best of the foods prepared, no, I don't want to eat. The spiritual hunger has to be, created by us. By chanting sincerely, seva bhav. Then, when you start reading, then it's like, you're absorbing it, you're taking, you're so hungry, oh, so nice. So, even though when you're so hungry, simple khichdi also will be very tasty. Right? When you're not hungry, even the best of the Rajbhog Prasadam will taste, oh, not so, salt is less, so that is not good, this is not good. Start comparing. It's like that. Okay.
Thank you.
Chalo, very good. Thank you. So we will continue our discussion with one more interesting chapter, 14th chapter, about Prakriti, 3 modes of nature, in the next session onwards. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
यही चल शुरू कर